go.
Hello, thank you for coming to tonight's meeting. You want to stand and salute the flag?
Pledge
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
Under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, I'd say please be seated, but most of you already are. All right, we call to order at 7 p.m. Did pledge announcements. This meeting is being recorded and will be posted on social media due to the ongoing health concerns caused by COVID-19. This meeting is also being held on Zoom. Steve, the request from Scott was not the speaker on the table. I guess it was the speaker on the wall to be pointed to him that would improve the quality of our audio and the video. So I don't know if that will impact the recording or not.
I don't know that those speakers are,
Able to position? Yeah.
our system is outdated and the battery died, so.
Well, that takes care of that. Okay. Every year in December, what we've done is to acknowledge people in the community for their contribution. And this year, very troublesome year for everyone, dealing with medical concerns as well as the employment situation. So what we wanted to do is acknowledge some groups, some of the organizations, individuals who have been helping us get through this difficult time. I'll start off by saying Bob Witters, who has served on our planning commission for several years, he's stepping down. And we'd like to acknowledge him and say thank you very much, Bob, for your service to Huntingburg Township.
Yeah, Mr. Witters just walked in, John.
Say that again?
Mr. Witters just walked in himself here at the township meeting.
Oh, okay, his timing, he's, okay, well, say it again.
He knows how to make an entrance.
Yes, he does. Oh, Bob.
Yes, Bob, thank you for your contribution. to
Oh,
planning commission.
you're very welcome. You're very welcome.
Yes, John, and we were just calling out, acknowledging your contribution to the township.
Well, thank you, John.
We want to say thank you very much. And we'll miss you, but you're also welcome to come back to our meetings.
I'll do that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And my mother and dad, thank you. My wife, not so much.
Okay, you go over to there. Okay, our next, the list would be the election judges and people working polls on election day. We did have a difficult day with combining two precincts into one location. So that's something that the township is working with. Well, not necessarily the township itself, we're working with the Democrat and Republican Party to ensure that they will follow up with voter services, that the precincts will vote separately in separate locations. We don't run into the situation we had this year. All right. We'd also like to acknowledge Susan Rifkin, township resident who works on the census. Do we have a
Agenda?
president?
Yes.
All right. Next up, we will talk, we'll acknowledge the Huntingbrook Fire Company, and it's not just this year, but for every year, you know, service to our community, very much appreciated. Well, also call out Bill Ford and the Huntingbrook Fire Police. Bill acknowledged, he said could not meet today, so, but Bill has been recognized in the past by the township. He's always been there to help us out. And in addition to several of the fire police officers, and then again, the work they did on election day was remarkable to help us get that, those crowds. And that was also our Public Works Department was working with them. I'm jumping ahead, so acknowledging Don Johnson and staff, Public Works, and I didn't skip, but I should go take a step back, and that's Elmerson Huntingburg EMS. We know that the amount of work you do in Huntingburg Township represents a large portion of the work you do, and again, we appreciate that. I know you've got a difficult time this year with all the medical situations that are going on. I think we have Steve. Steve, thank you for attending.
Absolutely, Joe. Thank you for your invitation.
welcome. And always a pleasure to have you attending, and again, we look forward to working with you in 2021. We also have the Hunterbrook Food Pantry, and they're doing quite a job. I know that somehow they managed to meet the needs of the region. So that's something that we especially want to call out. And it's hard to say one or two residents. I think it's all the residents of Hunterbrook Township did their part this year, and we need their help and cooperation in 2021. So on behalf of the board, I'd like to say thank you very much to the residents of our community, and I'll ask Travis, with anything that you would like to add?
Yeah, I'd like to say thank you too. Well,
Tracy, anything you'd like to add?
I think you've done well saying it. I mean, I think this year has been challenging for everyone, and so everyone sort of deserves a little bit of recognition because of that.
Very good. At this point, we have a full agenda today, so I guess we have to start moving ahead here. What I'll do is we'll start off with our consent agenda. Do I hear a motion to approve the entire consent agenda?
make the motion.
I'll second.
There a second? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, the next thing we're going to go through our department report. Do I have Don Johnson? We're coming present for public work.
Yeah, Don's not here. Of course, you know, with this afternoon's flurry, Don's finishing up preparations for snow. And in the meantime, he's still cleaning ditches out and prepping other equipment. So he's at home getting some rest.
Got it. Again, we appreciate the job that you've been doing for us over the years. And now we'll step up Christy for what updates do you have?
Okay, can everybody hear me all right?
I can?
Okay, great. The Hunterbrook Community Partnership met on November 12th, and the depth of Brook details are posted on the partnership and township website. Registration is closed, but voting begins tomorrow and lasts through December 17th. Please visit hbpartnership.org. Winners in each of three categories will receive $100 cash: residential door, residential yard, and business. There will also be a family favorite who will receive a gift basket of goodies with items donated by local businesses. The partnership is putting together another fun new event called Name the Brook. This will be a contest that will take place in early 2021. As everybody knows, Honeybrook is known as the headwaters of the Brandywine, and yet there are several streams that feed into both the west or east branch of the Brandywine that are not named. There is one such stream, well, there's only one that's named actually, Two Log Run, which is the southern part of the township. But there is one stream that actually goes through both the borough and the township, and it's technically called unnamed tributary number 4 to an unnamed tributary of the west branch of the Brandywine. That's quite a mouthful. That's the stream that the partnership is looking to name.
Suggestion for number 4, we call it the Honeybrook.
That is entirely possible. There's a committee of 4 of us that will meet, and we're going to put together the parameters for the contest. So that's in the
I
pocket.
don't think we have a Honeybrook, but that might be useful. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So, but the fun part is that this can involve the entire community, and even better, it counts for public education and outreach for our MS4 permit.
Yes.
So, that's a clever little way of getting that in there. This Friday, being the second Friday in December, is the Christmas and Honeybrook shopping event, and those details are also on the partnership website. including the Vision Partnership Program grant for the Icedale Trail feasibility study and the DCNR grant for phase 1 of the James C. Humboldt Memorial Park improvement. Conference materials for the PFAS convention have arrived, and they're in your cubbies in the office, board members, along with some goodies for the holiday. John, your registration from last year will carry over, and I will be rebooking your accommodation. And I haven't got the official word, but I found out from Scott Coburn that Louise Wentberg and I will be presenting the workshop again. This will be called Implementing the Logical Addressing Scheme for New Construction. Get it right from the start. I don't know what day and time yet, so we'll take this to that. I'm happy to see that our donation box for the Toys for Tots drive is nearly full. Actually, it's more than full. We have an entire case of volleyballs and a box full of dolls and gloves and cars and all sorts of fun things. And the deadline is Friday at 3 p.m. and then I'm going to drive them all over to the warehouse the next week. So thank you everybody who donated. And lastly, the township offices will be closed Friday, December 25th and Friday, January 1st in observance of Christmas Day and New Year's. And that's my report.
Thank you, Christie.
Yes, thank you, Christie.
You're up.
Oh, I didn't hear Don. Hopefully to keep things moving along, I only want to mention one thing because we have a busy agenda starting with a public hearing. We had scheduled to have a recommendation tonight for the award of diesel fuel bids for the Public Works Department. And for time number 3, we received no bids. After consultation with the solicitor, he informed me that we do not have to solicit bids any longer. We can just go out to the open market and buy fuel. So that's what we're going to do. And also in the meantime, I contacted the Berks County Intermediate Unit because I'm familiar that they have a fuel bid that they allow piggybacking on. And I contacted them because Twin Valley School District is part of the Berks County group. And after discussing it with them, yes, they would let me on to their next bid. And was very fortunate that they're actually putting the bid documents together right now. And so we can start with them July 1 of 2021, and that contract will go for 1 year through June 30th, 2022. And then if we like the way that works, we can just keep doing that and not have to worry about us bidding this ever again. And that's all I have.
That's good news. Thanks, Steve.
Steve, do you have anything else on for that report?
No, I don't.
All right, land preservation is up next. Do we have an update?
No, we don't have anything. They didn't meet this past month because they really didn't have any business going on. So their next meeting will be in January. Unfortunately, it's not going to be the morning meeting before the farmer's breakfast because that has been canceled due to COVID. So they'll have their regular evening meeting coming up in January on the 19th.
All right, Parks and Recreation, anything to report?
Well, tonight we're going to be having the public hearing for the comprehensive plan. And this finalizes, except for a lot of paperwork here at the end, it finalizes about 2 years' worth of effort that was put in by the Park and Rec Board and other members of the community who were on the study committee. So it was a job well done, And I hope if you haven't had a chance to take a look at it, everybody can go on to the township's website and find it there. So that's all we have for Parks and Rec.
All right. Move it.
Hello,
Next item. Go ahead, Chris.
I'm sorry, this item for me, the bedroom program, the garden agreement has already been returned to the Township County Food Bank. So, we're already looking forward to next year's growing season.
That's good to hear. All right. Next up, we have Planning Commission. Mike?
Yeah, the only thing I have, John, there is one item on your agenda tonight that was a recommendation from the planning commission related to a special exception. We'll talk about that later in the agenda. And we have no new business for the meeting tomorrow night, so that meeting has been canceled. So the next meeting will be held in the new year, at which point the planning commission will reorganize at that point.
Thank you, Mike. And that's all to yourself.
You same meeting, John.
All right, at this point, we will now, I'll turn it over to our solicitor. We have a public hearing. So, Steph?
Great, thanks, John. Yes, this is the time and place is advertised for a public hearing on the township's proposed Honeybrook Township Comprehensive Recreation, Parks, Open Space, and Greenway Plan, which will serve as a supplement to the Honeybrook Township and Borough Multi-Municipal Comprehensive Plan that was adopted in 2015. This public hearing was advertised in the Daily Local News on Tuesday, November 24th and Tuesday, December 1st, 2020. We will open the hearing with a presentation from Heather Coiler from the consulting firm Pashek and MTR, who I believe is with us on Zoom tonight.
Yes, she is.
To provide some initial information, and after Heather's presentation, we'll open it up to any other public comments as part of the hearing. Heather, are you here and ready to share with us?
Here? Yeah, can you hear me?
We can.
Okay, good. This is an unusual time, and I wish I was back in Honeybrook in person to do an actual presentation, but thank you for having me tonight. I just wanted to touch base on the great job that the committee did. We had a lot, this project was funded through DCNR, and we really worked to provide a lot of public input into this process through key person interviews, public meetings, the survey, and I must say that the steering committee did a great job. Honeybrook has kind of a interesting demographic, so it was a little difficult at times to reach out to everybody, but I feel that the steering committee did a great job of reaching out to everybody to pull that information together. And from that, all that information, we sifted through and we really came up with 6 really good goals that are in line with the state comprehensive plan through DCNR, which was just updated this year. And from this process, we pulled it all together. We took a look at the trails and the greenways and the open space in Honeybrook Township. The draft document, which is required through DCNR, was then shared with DCNR and the county and the staff and the steering committee and the planning commission. We took all the comments that were given to us and we took another look at it. And Steve was very instrumental in helping to pull this together to make sure that it aligned with the goals from the comprehensive plan itself. So right now I'm here just to answer questions if there's anything else that might be outstanding before we go through and finalize this comprehensive plan.
Do you have any questions, comments? Go ahead.
At this point, what we've been looking for is for the supervisors to adopt this plan as part of the multi-municipal comprehensive plan and a policy to guide the township for the next 5 to 10 years.
All right, so I will make a motion to adopt or not adopt the resolution to approve the plan and make it part of Honeybrook Township and Borough Multi-Municipal Comprehensive Plan. Do I hear that motion?
I'll make the motion to adopt.
I hear a motion from Tracy to adopt. Do I hear a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Thank you, Heather. Thank you, Gus.
Thank you, and it's been a pleasure. Honeybrook is a beautiful place. You have a great community. It's really been a pleasure, and I hope to work with you in the future.
Look forward to it, and happy holidays.
Happy holidays. I will excuse myself from the meeting at this point.
Take care, Heather.
Bye-bye. All right, we now have an open forum. So what I'll do is I'll start with the group that has joined virtually. Do I hear anyone who would like to speak, make a comment, question? Having heard none, do I hear anything in the township building? Hearing no
See
questions or
none.
comments, yes?
I just said I see none.
I see none, thank you. Okay, thank you. So we'll close the open forum. The next item is the new business, a motion to approve, not approve, the 2021 budget for all funds. Before we do that, I'm inclined to say that I did not approve the budget for a few reasons. And one of them being that, in Steve's situation, he's been with us for several years. He's not an employee. We should be looking at his contract from year to year. We have not provided him with any pay increase or anything along that line. Not that I'm not pleased with his work or anything. I just feel that we, as a board, should be stepping up in some of these matters, and we're putting a lot of the burden on Steve for a lot of the responsibilities I believe the board should be handling. So, having said that, Travis, Tracy, any comments that you'd like to make?
I'm not exactly sure what your purpose of what exactly you're saying. What are you trying to get to with that?
Well, one of the things that we had an increase in the line item for the township's manager salary, and I think that should be coming from the board. So we should discuss that and provide Steve with some indication instead of having to rely on him to provide that. And also that money, if you recall 2 years ago, is supposed to be used for the benefits, state benefits for the township manager should we go out there and replace Steve. Steve is still on board, so that additional money is now being used for salary.
Okay, so I thought that we had actually spoken about this, and that Steve had budgeted money in there in case he needed to bring somebody along and have training to them, which is what we had agreed on. I thought we had already talked about this.
I don't recall that, we should be recording it.
If I can just interject here, I know you're talking about me, but I just think that the board can take this business up at any time. What it has a time restraint on is the approval of the budget. So this budget has to be approved no later than December 31st of this year.
Yes.
And obviously, if you don't do that tonight, you'll have to do that at some other time. And just because you approve the budget with a certain number in a line item does not mean that the board can't give whoever's sitting here instructions not to spend it, to cut it back, to do anything during the course of the year at any time. So it would be, I would suggest that you adopt tonight's budget, and certainly if you want to address these other things, you can either set up a special meeting, or you can take it up at the next workshop, which isn't until February. Perhaps you want to set up a special meeting sometime in January, but here again, you can do that at a later time. So,
All right.
my recommendation.
Yeah, I appreciate the timing. I know that this is the time when we have to consider the budget approval. So before we go further, Travis, do you have anything to add?
Oh, I make motion to approve it.
I'll second the motion.
For a motion, I was just asking if you had any comment. And
I will, we discussed in January.
all right. So now I'll say, make a motion to approve. Do I hear a motion?
I make the motion.
I second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Do I hear a third aye?
I said, I agreed as well.
Okay, I didn't hear that. So it's on record, we all approved the budget then. Item 2 is a motion to adopt the resolution to set the 2020 real estate tax rate.
And that would be the 2021 real estate tax rate.
Second 20, oh yes, it says 20, yes, and I did make that correction, but I read it 2020. Okay, thank you, Steve. So, do I hear a motion to approve the 2021 real estate tax rate?
Yeah, and just, I believe our old tax rate was 0.98, right? And this
Well,
is-
that was 2 years ago. This is the same tax rate that was adopted for 2020.
Because of the fire and EMS split up.
Right.
Right, okay.
And because of the increased money going to both fire and EMS.
Right, because they needed further funding.
Right.
Right, okay.
Correct. And then we do have a different account, we have separate accounts now for fire and EMS. So, do I hear that motion to adopt?
I'll make a motion to adopt.
Beth,
I second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. All right, item 3, a motion to not adopt a resolution that establishes fees and charges effective January 1st, 2021. Do I hear a motion?
What fees? What are we talking about?
These are all the fees and charges that the township levies, whether it's, anything from building permits,
Oh, permit fees and whatnot,
and
okay.
subdivision fees, it's all those fees.
Okay,
And there is no change from the fee schedule from 2020.
okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I make the motion to adopt.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's adopted. Item 3, we now have the Lancaster landfill. Motion to not grant the request of Lancaster landfill to waive the requirement for land development for the recycling facilities that they will handle household hazardous waste and electronics on the existing landfill property.
Yeah, Mike, I think that you should talk about this a little bit, and I know we have some people from the landfill here on the Zoom meeting. I believe that they had asked for 2 waivers, and maybe you can just walk through that, Mike, for the board.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. Yeah, just for the board's, I believe, Mr. Wright, Ms. Daniel, you're probably on the Zoom meeting tonight. I'll let you, give a brief explanation of what your request, or what the scope of your project is. The request tonight is for 2 waivers. One would be a waiver of the land development requirements, for the township for the proposed improvement. And the second item would be a waiver, stormwater waiver related to infiltration testing on the site. In lieu of that, they have done a geotechnical test, and they've discussed that with our office, and we have no objections to that. Because of the geotechnical test that they've done, they're going to include that in the report. But it's more of a technical issue that they do need relief from the stormwater ordinance from that requirement too. So those are the 2 items, the 2 waiver requests that are going to be before the board. And I'll turn it over to Dan if you'd like to just give a brief scope of what your project consists of.
Thanks, Mike. Actually, Bob Watt is here from Lancaster, so he's going to give the presentation on the drop-off facility, and I can answer any questions about the infiltration testing.
Okay, great. Turn it over to Bob then.
Thank you. First, I just wanted to say that we've been collecting electronics for a number of years, televisions and computers, and we're one of only 2 places in the county that does that. And we're really want to continue doing that, and our contractor, who we've been working with for a number of years, has raised concerns from time to time that we don't have a building rate now that we cover the electronics that are out in the weather. So that really started us thinking about some longer term projections on covering that need. And as we looked at it, and we looked to our neighbors to the west, Lancaster County has a permanent facility So we kind of modeled our project on what they're doing, although ours is not quite as fancy as theirs, but we think will accomplish the same task. We also support, along with the county and municipalities, as you may know, typically we've had 6 collection events around the county for paint and hazardous waste, and sometimes electronics. This year that was curtailed to 3 with COVID and things. But and I think that really highlighted the importance to have a place like this. As a matter of fact, I couldn't have it any better. I had somebody sent me an email. You know, they're cleaning out somewhere and they've got all this paint and other things that they need to get rid of. And at this point, we have to tell them, we have to hang on to it until May when we have our next event. And, you know, that doesn't always sell very well with people. So we'd like to start this project on a limited basis, probably start out with Saturdays and then see if there's additional need for people around the county to come bring us these things. We know electronics is big. We typically send out 2 box trucks a week of mostly televisions, but computers as well. So that's how we got to this point. We selected a site that we thought would work well. It's close to our scale house, close to our composting operation, and it worked out pretty well for putting in a living dock and things. So then we came up with a rough, you know, beginning design and then worked on the stormwater, and that's where we're at right now.
Great. Thank you, Bob. Is there anything, Dan, you wanted to go over, just in brief, just related to the stormwater for the board, and then they can ask questions if they have some?
Sure. We did geotechnical investigation of the infiltration bed area. And at the bottom of the infiltration bed, we observed that there was gravel and cobblesticks. And in order to do infiltration testing,
This meeting is being
what
recorded.
we call a double ring infiltrometer that has to be seated in the soil. And then we add water to it and see, you know, measure how much the ground and soil infiltrates at that elevation. Well, if you have gravel and cobblestones, as we observed in our testing, you can't seat that infiltrometer well. And the water wouldn't even be able to get very good infiltration rates either, because the water would just quickly run through the gravel at that time. So for those 2 reasons, we kind of coordinated with Mike's office and agreed that we would use a conservative infiltration rate in our calculations. We would add a sand filter for water quality at the bottom of our bed to make sure that clean water is working its way through the sand filter that we put in. So because of that, we asked for a waiver from having to do infiltration calculations.
Yeah, that's perfect, Dan. That's well said. Does the board have any questions for either Bob or Dan tonight related to those 2 items?
No, I'm not doing
No, thank you.
May I ask a question?
Mr. Witters has a question.
My question is, how exactly do you dispose of a computer so that somebody can't get information off of the drives? Hello?
I can answer that.
That's probably it. Go, there you go. Go ahead.
We have a contractor who takes the electronics, takes the computers, and in the contract we have with them, it's specified that those computer drives will be erased or destroyed. We have not had, you know, we've been doing this for, well, it's probably going back to the one-day events, at least 10 years, and we have not had any issues where anyone has come back and said that, you know, they had a data issue. We have been using this contractor. They're one of the bigger ones in the business, probably for about 40 years, and their facility, I visited their facility, and it's very well laid out, and it's a de-assembly line, so they try to recycle just about everything they get for wipe the drives and destroy them. So that kind of thing does happen, and I've gone down to witness that.
Thank you, appreciate that.
Sure.
What's the best practice if you have the opportunity to remove the hard drive before you bring it? I know with the desktops it was easy to do, laptops it's kind of hard to remove the hard drives now.
Yeah, I mean, that's, if you want to be very cautious, you could do that. We do have video surveillance in the area, but we don't have somebody at this point there all the time. Now, once we have this facility, it's going to be much more secure. We're going to have it so that it works good for COVID, because the idea is we have 2 garage doors, and you drive in, and the door is shut, and you pop your trunk or in the back of the pickup truck, and then we take the items out of it, and then the employees will then take them and we stack them and wrap them for transportation to the deconstruction facility. So once this facility's up and running, hopefully by the end of next year, it'll be even more secure than it is right now. But answering your question, I think if you're very concerned that that could happen, then I think, and I'm not expert on this, but I do know that people take a nice new drill bit and poke holes through the computer as they're concerned about someone getting into the data. There are also, software programs that you can find on the internet that will overwrite your drive a number of times so that it will be useless to somebody else. But that's, abundance of caution is never a bad thing.
Right. Thank you, Bob. Thanks, Bob, for your question.
Yep.
All right, I think we have the information we need, so I believe we're on time with that motion. Do I hear a motion to grant the request for Lancaster landfill to waive the requirements for land development in the proposed recycling facility? There's 2 requests. We'll address it as 1 request. So do I hear a motion to grant?
I make the motion to grant.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Bob, Dan, and Mr. Wagner. You take over first. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, we're about to move to item 5. I noticed we did have dinner for Spade. Is it Teresa? I didn't acknowledge you were here tonight. Thank you for joining us. All right, let's move to item 5, the Honeybrook Golf Club on 1422 Cambridge Road. We have a motion to grant, not grant, a request for the Honeybrook Golf Club to waive the requirements for land development for their 25 by 75 foot maximum size proposed addition to their existing outdoor dining area. So, Mike?
Yeah, I'll take, just a little segue into this. We do have Chris Fowler here tonight, I believe. Don is also with us here from the golf course. I had met with all of them actually several weeks ago at their request to just go over a project that they were looking to do at the clubhouse there to expand some of their outside seating area. And that request came before us, and because it's a non-residential structure, it does get into the land development definition. And I did go over with them what the stormwater requirements would be. A lot of it displacing existing impervious surfaces that are already there. Not to mention the fact they do have stormwater management on the property. So I assisted them, so to speak, as far as guidance to bring this to the board as a potential waiver request. So what I'd like to do is turn it over to Chris. If Chris is leading the way here, just to give a quick scope of what the project entails for the board. That way they can understand what the request is all about related to the waiver.
Yes, thank you, Mike. I'm here, and Donna or Tom or anyone else from the GoPro, feel free to chime in if you have something to add after I'm finished. But basically, the letter that we submitted is asking for potentially up to 25 to 7 by 75 foot wide patio expansion. Most likely, it will not be quite that large, but because we are just still in the preliminary design, we want to make sure that we didn't cut ourselves just a hair short, and then for some reason find that with the design and that would be really advantageous to go just a hair bigger and then limit it. So most likely it's going to be more like an 18 by 65, but we're the request is for an area up to outside of the outdoor dining area. So the plan would be to redirect that cart path on other existing impervious areas. So we'll be adding new impervious areas to the cart path, but instead putting a patio on that cart path area and then doing a slight additional expansion into some impervious area, but it would definitely be less than 1,000 square feet on the new impervious area. So that's just a brief summary, and if anyone has more questions, feel free to ask, or if Donna or Tom or anyone else from the Grove Club wants to add anything, go ahead.
Question, what's the timeline if we get the approvals and everything else? What's your timeline?
Hoping to have this up and running by May of next year. The start of the season, hopefully get it in before the busy season ends for them there at the Grove Club.
Good. No further questions?
Yeah, just from my standpoint, I have no objections to this. This does not ripple in any kind of impacts. I look for impacts on traffic, sewer, water, those types of things, and really we're just talking about providing additional outside seating area. We're not really talking about an increase of anything that's not already going to be there. It's just merely the location of where people are being displaced for dining. So from a stormwater perspective, I don't really see an impact there either. Again, they have existing facilities, and the impervious is under what we would typically exempt for a small project in the township anyway. So those are the reasons that I would be willing to support that.
Great. At this point, any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll go through the motion. Motion to grant the request from Honey Golf Club.
I'll make a motion to grant.
Cal, second?
I second it.
All in favor? Aye. Chris. Gorman and Chris Bailey, thank you for joining. Happy holidays.
So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
We're now moving to item 6. This is Mike Riley and JP and MR Properties LLC, special exemption application 3125 Horseshoe Pike, currently the Maple Inn. Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, that's also mine. I had met with the engineer and the applicant, I believe it was a month or so ago, related to this. We had some preliminary discussion of the redevelopment of the Maple Inn tract with 24 townhouses and related land development type improvements. We decided to proceed with a zoning review, which I conducted and issued a review letter for the applicant at their request, just to identify any other potential zoning relief that may be necessary. We did not find any related to the sketch plan. This will be coming back for land development review after the zoning hearing is held. The only thing that was identified as the applicant was anticipating was the fact they do need special exception approval from the zoning hearing board. So this went to the planning commission for their review, and they did recommend a position of support for the application of the special exception. So that's before you as a board tonight, related to support, oppose, or take no position on the special exception request prior to that hearing.
And there is a representative here for the plan, I believe.
All right, go ahead.
So I don't know if you want to talk.
I'm Rich Wisneski, I'm with D.O. Associates. I'm here for the applicant who is also in the room. I'm just here in case there are any questions. Like Mike said, we were in front of the planning commission last month, and the township engineer issued a letter. There didn't really seem to be any issues popping out that wouldn't be handled during land development. And again, this is just to get your guys' recommendation to go to special exception.
I guess same question I asked before, timeline, if we would proceed with approvals and stuff, what is the timeline for this work?
I can't hear. Timeline, when would you anticipate beginning this work once approvals are obtained?
What do you do with
You can go hear that response.
What's that?
What do you say, a year?
They're discussing it, John.
Yeah, I imagine that the applicant would want to start construction as soon as, approvals were obtained. So whatever timeline that's under, I imagine it's going to be the latter part of 2021, maybe all said and
Can I
done.
see wrong?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, that's the same one I have here. Come on.
Yep.
Nobody hear any other questions? All right, having heard them at this point, I will ask for a motion, taking a position of support.
I take a position to support.
Jason?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, the motion to support has been approved. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
All right, our next item, we have Jones G. Stoltz, on Pleasant Road.
Thank you.
Variance application.
Thanks, Reggie.
Motion to take position of support with position or against variance application submitted by Jones to construct a 6,000 square foot accessory structure or a rural occupation with dedicated use in excess of 1 acre for more than 4 employees.
Mr. Stoltzfus?
I'm in on this one for John. This is a variance request that you had mentioned. Essentially, this recently came in and was actually discussed with the chair of the planning commission that they did not need to review this, and they were taking comments by email, which I don't believe they received any related to this. So instead of waiting for the next meeting in January, they decided to just move forward with the supervisors at this point. So the request is for a rural occupation. They're coming in for a rural occupation application. The request is actually to construct a larger building than what's permitted in the zoning ordinance for the size lot. They have a roughly 13 acre lot. And for that size, your zoning ordinance allows a 4,000 square foot building. The request would be to increase that to 6,000 square feet. And there's also a change in the maximum number of non-family employees to 7 instead of the allowable 4. So those are two of the items that they're requesting relief on. And again, that would be a position of support, no position, or opposition to that variance request for those 2 items.
And Mr. Stoltzfus is in the audience here in case there were any questions.
I don't have any questions.
All right. Charles?
I don't have any questions.
All right, and do we hear a motion to take the position of support? Tracy?
I'll make the motion to support.
Travis?
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion to support. Thank you. Thank you, Mike. All right, item 8, we have a motion to adopt a resolution that establishes compensation rates for township employees. Do we have any discussion, or just go right to the motion?
For clarification in the audience, I think it's what, 3%, right?
Average.
Yeah, it's an average of about 3%.
All right, do we have any further discussion? I hear a motion to adopt.
I'll make the motion to adopt.
Yes. Tracy?
Second, I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion 8 is adopted, so we now move to a motion to approve the professional services proposal submitted by YSM Landscape Architects to provide the services needed to prepare specifications and manage construction for the Phase 1 James A. Humboldt Memorial Park project. We have a discussion on that first?
Any questions?
I don't hear any questions. So, Travis, do you want to make a motion to approve?
Yeah, I make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And 9 is approved, so we go to item 10, motion to approve, not approve the payment for all invoices prepared by the treasurer. Tracy?
I'll make the motion to approve to pay the bills, yes.
I second it.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Item 11, motion to waive, not waive the performance bond requirements, Willis Property Maintenance, who was awarded the snow and ice removal contract.
Yeah, the bid specifications called for a 10% bond, which in this case would have been about $2,200. Because of the economic conditions, Mr. Wills has asked that we would waive that requirement. He has worked for us for the last 4 years. He's had this bid. He's been also the only bidder for this contract. And he has great performance. And certainly, if he doesn't perform, he's not going to get paid, so the township's not at any risk here. And I would recommend that we do this for him.
All right, do I hear any questions?
I'll make a motion to approve the waiver.
All right, do I hear a second?
I second it.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
So, item 11 has been motion to waive. Item 12, motion to adopt, not adopt the resolution authorizing the submission of the revision of the township sewage facilities plan as described in the Honeybrook State Sewer Planning Module to the PA Department of the Environmental Protection for approval. Do I hear a motion to adopt? Dennis?
I make a motion to adopt.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Question?
Item 13.
Well, wait a minute, Mr. Winters has a question.
John,
Bob, go ahead.
Bob Witters, Honeybrook Estates, is that the same name as the new one?
On 322 across from the Cambridge Road, where Cambridge Road comes out, that's Honeybrook Estates.
Right. And then the new one, where...
That's not what the new one's called. They referred to it at the beginning, probably when they talked to you at the planning commission, but Mike told them that they need to rename that plan sometime.
Excellent. Good, thank you.
Thanks, Bob, for answering your question. At this point, do I hear the motion to adopt? Chuck?
I make a motion to adopt.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And we now move to item 13, the motion to approve, not approve the following financial security releases recommended by Technicon for the NCCMA Google Pump Station for full release in the amount of $144,648.90 for site improvements and NCCMA minor land development for a final release in the amount of $1,545.03 for site improvements. I hear a motion to approve. Tracy?
I'll make a motion to approve both of those releases.
I second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Item 13 has been approved. Other new business that we have. Okay, do we have any old business to bring up? Open forum. Anyone on the virtual meeting? Any questions or comments before we close? I'd like to thank everyone for joining the call tonight and wish you all a happy holiday. We will now proceed to just call out one last thing. We heard a request to acknowledge the contribution of the Honeybrook Community Partnership. We didn't have them on our list, but we do acknowledge what they've been doing throughout the years to help our community. All right, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
That's one of the items we all agree to, motion to adjourn. All right, upcoming meetings, December 10th, the planning commission has been canceled, so we have our next board of supervisors reordered meeting, the regular meeting on the first Monday, which is January 4th, 2021. January 11th, the zoning hearing board for JP and MR property special exception application, and Jonas will also be out there application. That's at 7:30 p.m. January 19th, Conservation City. January 20th, Recreation and Parks Board. January 28th, Planning Commission. February 3rd, Work Product. And February 10th, Board of Supervisors.
I miss you.
All right. Thank you, everyone. And Stay healthy.
It's not bad.
Same to you, happy
Oh,
holidays.
yeah, but that's,
Thanks, John.
that's really, that's really.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Good night, everybody, have a good Christmas.
Thank you, Terry. Thank you,
Good
Terry.
night.
Carmella, yeah,
Night.
everybody.
See ya. Good night.